So I'm joined here by the Brexit Party candidate, Peter Dawe. Good evening to you, Peter. What's the campaign been like for you?
Oh, it's been great. A bit disappointed that we missed two hustings because that was a very significant part of what I wanted to achieve in this. The other thing that I think is going to be interesting is that my campaign was 100% digital. You know, I didn't kill any trees in the process. Yes, I know head office sent a paper out in the post, but that was nothing to do with me. So it's going to be interesting whether digital is going to take over from a forest of dead trees going through your door.
And what have people been saying to you out on the doorstep? Obviously, Cambridge is very much a Remain city. You're on a Brexit Party ticket. What have people been saying to you?
They get confused very quickly because although I'm on a Brexit ticket, my campaign is much more allied to Extinction Rebellion, which they see as contradictory. Whereas my view is that Brussels is probably the biggest barrier to any meaningful changes in legislation to protect the world.
And what have people been specifically saying to you? Do some people want to get Brexit done, especially maybe they're a Conservative supporter?
Very rarely talk about Brexit. As I say, my campaign is about the survival of humanity. And I find that an awful lot of people are worried about it and don't know what to do, but aren't brave enough to actually start acting. So, you know, one of the things that I typically ask is, have you given up flying? And it's exceedingly rare that people have, whereas that's probably the first step to a carbon-free world. And if people aren't starting to make that step yet, there's got to be a sea change in opinion.
Now, without putting a damper on things, you might struggle to win the Cambridge seat in particular. What sort of share of the votes, what sort of votes would you like to achieve?
I got this naive hope of getting over 4,000 votes, which for a new party and someone who more or less standing as an independent would be a remarkable achievement, I think. I've achieved a lot of the objectives of phase one of my campaign, and phase two will happen after the election, when we'll be pushing forward things that will potentially change the world and change Cambridge, in spite of the politicians. Because, again, one of the things I've been going on about is that I don't believe politicians are the solution to our problems. If anything, I think the politicians are the problem, and that we've got to work around them to make the world a better place.
Now, the exit poll has put the Brexit Party on 0 seats across the country. Would you say that would cause Nigel Farage to potentially stand down as leader?
No. He will look at the percentage of votes across. With the first past the post system, it's almost impossible for a new party to get seats. So it will purely be on the percentage. If he gets over 10%, he'll be over the moon. And I think the Brexit Party will be over the moon. That's 10% of the seats they're standing in, of course. I think the other measure will be adding the Brexit votes to the Conservative votes to see whether that goes over the 50% for Remain. Because if that happens, that should put something of a silencer on the Remainers, and they'll...
You mean the argument for a second referendum?
That's right, yeah. Because so that's the other touchstone that I think will be looked at.
OK, Peter Dawe, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.